Welcome to Listen to This Bull Live. This is the show where we talk about some bullshit, and then you guys ask us some questions, and then we give you good answers that aren't bullshit, and then we talk about more bullshit that other people talk about.
That's exactly what we do. My name is Remington Huggins.
I'm Matt Mulholland.
Moo Holland, I thought it was.
Only to you. It's like a pet name.
A pet name.
I think it is. I think you've got a thing for me. Today we've got Matt Danskin. And he's waiting in the wings right now to come in. We're going to leave him there as long as possible just to mess with him a little bit. It'll be great. He was going to have a beer with us, but he's not driving, but he's behind the wheel. I think that's illegal.
That's a gray area.
It is.
Can you drink
You
O'Doul's
cannot
while
have
driving?
an open beverage in your vehicle.
Is it alcohol that you can't drink, or is it? Well, it's definitely alcohol, but is beer specified? I wonder if you can have an O'Doul's while driving.
I would have to say yes, absolutely. It's
There
alcohol.
is actually a very small
lawyer says
percentage
it.
of alcohol, so I think
The lawyer says it. I'm cool.
Matt's driving from Franklin, Tennessee to Iowa.
I know.
He's got a long haul in front
He's
of
a
him.
crazy person. Today, our biggest topic is how to gain referrals in the restoration industry, which is why Matt Danskin is our expert, because he's got that whole restoration referral system deal. But we're not just going to be talking about referrals from agents. We're going to talk about all kinds of different things from everybody. How do we gain more business? And if you have a question about anything that we're talking about or something completely off topic, that's cool too. Post it in the comments, and we will ask that question live. And we'll answer it if we know it, and we'll have Matt Danskin answer it, and sometimes a mysterious voice that's feminine will answer it. That's technically my hat. It does talk to everyone.
I'm a social butterfly.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, Matt, 50%, we always talk about how to better our clients' claim, how to adjust claims. But 50% of a business is pulling in claims,
Yeah,
right?
if you can't bring in the claims, if you can't consistently get new business, then you might as well not be in business, even if you're great at what you do. So this is a part of the job that nobody really thinks about. Some people are really, really good at this part and not so good at processing claims. Some people are really good at processing claims, but not really good at the sales and references and all that stuff. So I'm going to bring Matt Danskin on. I hope he's ready, because I'm not going to give him any warning. Oh, right in the middle of what I was saying. Hey, Matt. How you doing, buddy?
Hey guys, what's going on?
Nothing much, bud.
We're
Nothing
doing
much.
a show.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that makes sense.
How are you doing, Matt?
I'm doing good. I just coming off of a little weekend trip with the family and getting ready to go put in some work.
There you go.
Were you were? I saw on Facebook. You looked like you were digging a moat. Was that a moat?
That is not a moat. That is a pond.
Why did you?
Well, it was-
Are you making the pond bigger? Was that the idea?
We're making the pond bigger, but what you were actually looking at is we built a trench around the pond so that as it rains over the coming weeks, as we're digging out the pond, it doesn't get flooded again. The water goes around.
Oh, so if there's a trench outside of a body of water, that's not a moat. But if the trench is filled with water outside of a body of water, is that a moat for the pond?
I don't know.
I don't know either.
We should look in the definition section of the policy and see what it says.
I don't think they have moats. Although if they did, is it in the flood policy? NFIP? Moats. Always covered.
I love it. Matt, what company do you work for, and tell us a little bit about it?
So I own Restoration Referral System. And so what I do is I teach other roofing and restoration contractors how to get referrals from insured agents. It's kind of a niche little deal, but that's the area that I believe I offer the most value and have really been able to help a lot of people out at.
You're also a roofing contractor, right?
No,
No. You
no,
were before, though.
I was before. I'm not anymore. I don't sell
Do you
or
feel sad about
build
that?
roofs currently. Sometimes I miss it a little bit. And so I do things like this trip to Iowa right now, where I do some inspecting to, keep my skills sharp and stay in the mix. But really, it's been really fulfilling doing what I'm doing, working with a lot of different contractors, helping them with this one specific area, which is my favorite part of everything that a roofing contractor can do without having to do all the stuff that maybe isn't my favorite.
All right, so I'm going to give the audience a little bit of a taste of what's going on here. So the restoration referral system is a way of gaining referrals from insurance agents as a contractor. And he teaches you every step of the process. It's simple, and in its simplicity, it's a beautiful thing, and it seems to work really well. But at the same time, it actually improves your reputation as a contractor. So it's a really cool system. Matt had me go in there in order to write a review, and I didn't get it done in time. I was going to have it done before today.
Well, you don't have to take all the blame for that. I had you pause so that you can take a look at the new stuff that we're doing as opposed to the old system. So you don't have to. You don't have to take all the blame there.
It's probably a good thing.
Let him take all the blame.
The newer stuff that you got going on in there is actually way better, and I love the multiple viewing angles that you got going on. And you'll have to post some photos of that later on in the comments whenever you get somewhere, or maybe I will. Maybe I won't. It depends.
Sure.
Depends on what people want to know.
Matt, what made you decide to take this leap in? Because it is a niche. I don't think I've necessarily heard exactly your formula to getting these types of referrals.
Really, it was kind of by accident. I never had any intentions of like being a consultant or being a trainer or anything like that. Having people pay me to teach them what I'm doing. I developed the process so that I could sell more roofs myself, so that I could make more money for the time that I was putting in and be able to control the types of leads that I was getting. And through doing that, I was really successful with that, and decided to move from Colorado to Tennessee. And when I kind of announced that move is when I had a few other contractors in Denver reach out to me, and they wanted to know what I was doing, how I was generating these relationships consistently and effectively. So I started teaching a couple of people, and I started seeing that they were able to replicate what I was doing. There was nothing special about me. It was the process that I was doing.
And we know better.
Oh, shucks. Maybe there is something special about me, but there's something special about my clients too, because they were able to get the same results. I've got some clients that have even gotten better results than I ever did, which is great. And so,
does that piss you off secretly?
I kind of feel like they should throw me some extra money when they're like, "Hey, I sold an extra $10 million this year." I'm waiting for that new truck to, show up in my driveway with a ribbon on it, but that's okay. They paid what we agreed to, so I can't really have an axe to grind.
A blue ribbon like you would see on a cow.
Absolutely.
It says number 2.
Absolutely.
All right, great.
Appreciate that. Yeah.
Matt Behrens. What does a contractor do with the oftentimes conflict of interest between an agent and an insurer paying a claim? I actually have this question written down for myself, Matt. We're thinking the same. For example, agent refers roofer. Roofer can't do the job for what insurance is offering. Agent refuses to get involved due to loss ratios. Either the agent looks bad or the roofer does in this scenario. Is that a conflict of interest? Kinda, because the agent wants to look like a hero to the insured.
So I think with this, there's a lot to it. So oftentimes what I see is contractors they get in a jam on a claim, and then they go to the agent and say, "Hey, will you help us out?" And the agent says, "No, I want to protect my loss ratio. I'm not going to help you out." Where one of the things that we address, and people can do this outside of my program, is when you set up these relationships with the insurance agents, have this conversation. Talk about, if we get denied either on the whole claim or on major parts of the claim, are you willing to go to bat for your client? get their commitment and their buy-in now. While it's a hypothetical, it's easy for them to say yes to, and that way you can hold their feet to the fire later. And so I think I don't think that's a conflict of interest for them to refer a roofer, or for them to advocate for their client, so
You've
long
been
as
in that
they are.
scenario several times before, right?
Oh yeah.
Has the agent ever been unsuccessful in advocating for their client?
No.
Never?
I mean, not in my experience. I'm sure in the wide world it's happened. In my experience, I've had gone from a complete denial to them paying every penny of my estimate, and I don't estimate lien
Just because the agent got involved.
just because the agent got involved. And
Maybe
now
it's Georgia?
here's the thing, though,
Has to be.
Matt. I have to set up that relationship right on the front end. I have to set that precedent with them, but then I also have to do my job and have very thorough documentation that shows exactly what it is happening there, and I have to have a indisputable estimate to give to them and scope. If I can do that, and that's one time I've had that from them going from completely denying to paying the whole thing. And that was with an agent who was a big deal going to bat for their client. Most of the time what I see is I provide them with those things, with the estimate and the documentation, and they send out a real adjuster who is looking to buy the claim. And the claim now gets approved. And we still have
Definitely.
to squabble over the right amount.
I've definitely had that scenario happen where the agent gets involved and they end up sending out a different adjuster. That happens from a lot.
Yeah.
But I've also had the situation where the agent gets involved and makes no difference on the claim whatsoever. In fact, that happens more often than not when an agent has to get involved in Georgia. And maybe it's just the function of the state being so rough, even the agents can't do anything for them. And
Sure.
we're talking about legitimate claims with legitimate damage. Here's Nate Ellis. Never have I had an agent be unsuccessful in getting hail damage bought for me. I fully involved my agents from the beginning with pictures and company cam. They're always willing to go to bat. Is this one of your clients?
He is, yep.
Nate, what state are you in, bud? Should be
He's
another
in
email.
Colorado. He's in Lakewood, Colorado. Yep.
All right, so Colorado has some pretty significant hail, but they also have a lot of leverage in Colorado. Those attorneys out there are good. You ever going to get barred in Colorado?
One day.
One day.
One day. I'm telling you,
Are you a skier?
I'm in the southeast right now. Am I a skier?
Yeah.
Yes, I ski every once in a while.
See, that's why you got to get barred in Colorado.
There you go.
That way you can invite me out.
Absolutely. I'm honestly kind of surprised regarding your guys' success rate in getting an agent involved and having these claims paid. And I say that I've had instances where I've had an insurance agent as an actual witness to one of my cases. And a well-known insurance company across the United States did not care about that. And there was an insurance agent because the policyholder was actually very good friends with the insurance agent that sold him the policy. And he was going to be a witness on the stand for the actual policyholder. But the insurance carrier did settle, but they didn't act like it was a big deal, if you will. Of course, they like to, underplay things because what jury would not, take into weight what the insurance agent is saying about, the company that they selling policies for, right?
So-
I mean, that's big time. That's big time.
How much power does an agent really have in this situation? I mean, they don't really have any authority at all. All they did as the agent, the producer, was sell the policy.
And I'm sure Matt has more knowledge regarding that than I do, but I can just tell you this. The claims department and an agent department and selling policies are two different ball games. But I'll let Matt, dive into it more because he's going to
Yeah,
know
I would
exactly
say
what you're talking about.
they don't officially have any authority. It's the economics that give them leverage. And so if a carrier looks at, okay, if we deny this person, we may lose their business. And so we're going to lose whatever, $2,000 a year. and not all, only a portion of that's profit. If they look at, hey, if we don't go to bat for our agents, if we don't work with our agents are going to leave us, and now they're generating tens of thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of dollars of revenue a year. And so I think it's the economics of it where they have to keep them satisfied.
Do you think that that's true for brokers as well?
More so.
More so.
Oh yeah.
I have a claim. I had a claim. It's settled. This was one of yours. I ended up handing it over to you. The agent was contacted by the carrier several times. Carrier trying to bypass the use of a public adjuster through the agent. Agent gave the information over. We filed a complaint with the DOI. So the agent basically stuck their neck out by providing us with information. And then the carrier decided that they no longer want that agent selling for them.
Sure.
Yeah.
I can see
poor
that.
agent got screwed because of me. Because the carrier was actually, it was because of the carrier.
He made.
But
the
here's the
carrier's
thing
fault.
is,
The agent did the right thing.
that agent has 20 other carriers that he can now take his customers to. So who really lost there? That agent probably is going to keep most of his book of business. That carrier is going to lose every one of the clients that agent had with that carrier.
And hey, this carries a lot of weight for me is quality of life. That agent can go to bed at night, right?
Yeah.
He stood up for his policyholder. Although he might be losing some business, you can go to bed at night. And that, to me, outweighs money sometimes. It really does. A lot of times, especially if it's like an ethical thing such as that.
So, if the agent does go to bat for you, do you think that they eventually will have a bad reputation amongst the insurance carrier adjusters?
I think in most situations, obviously small town, this is not going to be the case, but I think in big cities and big places, it's such a big pool that there's so many agents, so many adjusters that you don't really know one or the other for their reputation.
Now, if you're in a small town where there's like one agent that everybody has, everybody's got that agent. That's a completely different story. Does your system work better in a rural or an urban environment? I can't say that word.
I would say probably urban, just because I can't say the other word.
I was hoping you were going to try.
But rural.
That's better than me.
No, I think it works pretty similarly in either scenario. Obviously, there's a little bit of differences. There's going to be a lot more agents in an urban environment to go after. But like you said, some of those small towns, you've got just a handful of agents have almost all the business.
You ever had one of those agents recommend a public adjuster?
Not my agents personally.
Any of your clients have that situation that you're aware of?
Yeah, so I do have a client of mine who is a public adjuster, who's coincidentally in Iowa, who is using some of these some methods that we use here to get referred by their.
You told me about this guy at some point.
Yep.
I was hoping to be able to adapt your system to PAs and try that out as well. And you said that you already had somebody doing that, which is great. Hopefully we can have him on the show a little bit later today. Who is that?
You know him, Caden Tinklenberg, Swift.
Olivia, see if you can get a hold of Caden. You have no idea who I'm talking about. It's all right, Caden. I hope you didn't hear what I just said.
The hat will figure it
watch
out.
this again.
The hat will figure it out.
Yeah, if it's on my head, it knows everything I know. Caden Tinklenberg.
So Matt, how do you set up this process with the agent to let's just say it's a new agent that you're going to approach to try to set up a process of getting these referrals? Like, how do you go about taking those steps?
So typically, I like to do this as an organic process. There are ways that we can go just, through the phone book, so to speak. But I typically try to get to agents through the customers I'm already working with. And so we had talked with, I talked with Matt about some of this process. before, where I start by talking to the customers I'm in front of, and it's amazing. Very, very, very few contractors ask their customers who their insurance agent is. Are you going to get an introduction to that agent if you don't even ask who they are? And that information is not all that valuable by itself. And so we follow that up by asking what that customer thinks about their agent. And this is where we start to gain leverage into the situation. So if that customer knows and likes their agent, now that's somebody that I've already qualified as somebody that I want to pursue.
It's so open-ended.
What's that?
What do you think about your agent? The things that you might hear after that question might be really amazing.
Yeah. Yeah. And then I can tell Matt takes a direction on if it's no, he knows what to do, and then yes, he knows what to do.
What would you do if they said, I'm my own agent? What would you do?
I would
probably not.
I would go, I thought that was illegal. I don't know everything about it. I don't know everything about it, but I took a few classes on it in college, and didn't think an agent could bind their own policy.
If you're a car salesman, you can sell yourself a car, right?
You don't need a license to sell a car.
That's true.
That's what Matt's talking about.
Actually, in Tennessee, you can't. But
you also can't marry your cousin. So
do you know that in Colorado you can
those are
marry your
related
cousin?
somehow, one way or the other. What's
Do
that?
you know that? In Colorado, it is not illegal to marry your cousin.
Did you look that up?
Do you know why?
I'm sorry.
Why?
Why?
In Colorado, it wasn't a problem that needed to be addressed.
Oh, that makes sense.
So it
In
started
Georgia,
in
it
Alabama
probably
and then
was.
it just spread.
Yeah.
So in places where it is illegal to marry your cousin, it's because it was an issue.
Right.
I mean, it's a problem for the human race. You need
It
genetic
is,
diversity.
But if it's not something that's happening, you don't necessarily need to write a law about it.
Right.
Except for generations before, they've always married their cousins. Look at the monarchy.
The monarchy. That's true. But they were
I'm
trying to
just
get
saying.
the royal blood to stay there.
I think we can look at that as an example of what not to do.
Way off topic.
Exactly.
Way off topic here.
Let me ask you a question real quick from the audience. Are agents even allowed to refer PAs? This is a good question.
Absolutely.
Are they? I mean,
Sure, why not?
Of course they're allowed to, but is it a good idea for them to? If the agent still sells for that carrier and they don't want to piss the carrier off, I mean, they could keep it on the down low. Like, you should get this public. There's plenty of adjusters that call me and say, I didn't give you this. I have nothing to do with this, but this person needs you. I'm going to give her contact information or your contact information to her. That happens all the time. But I've never had that happen from an agent. However, if an agent did that, would they ever get some shit for it from their carrier?
Let me ask you this more important question. Should customers use a PA in some circumstances?
Yes.
Is it the right thing to do?
So many times.
Okay.
I know what Matt's saying.
If it is
I
the
get what
right
you're
thing
saying.
to do, then it's the right thing to do. And if they are that person there to advise them, I think they need to do that. I think a lot of
there are carriers
agents
that don't do the right thing, though. I mean,
that's true.
I made this show because of the amount of bull that the carriers do on purpose.
Yeah.
Matt, let me ask you a question. I think this is going to help me figure out your question about, hey, does a PA or an attorney or anybody need to be on the file? Are you contacted by the agent after the fact, after there's been estimates drafted, or before estimates are drafted, or both?
Most often before, but
Okay.
sometimes after. Yeah.
Because I'm trying to think about a scenario where, let's say somebody goes out to a residential roof, an adjuster for State Farm, and says, we're going to pay $22K for this roof. And then the agent gets wind of that and says, oh, by the way, I know a contractor who can do this for $22K. At that point in time, I don't see a need, for a PA or an attorney or anybody, right? But before the estimate's drafted, that's where I could see, definitely the PA need to be involved. But if the carrier's actually paying it out and you're just a vehicle to provide them to an actual contractor who's going to do the work for the scope that the carrier's writing for, there's no need in that instance, right?
Now, wait a minute. Now, Matt is or was a good roofer, though, and probably put together an estimate prior to writing or filing the claim. And so he had an estimate to work from himself, not
Got
the
it.
carrier's estimate.
Got it.
Every time, right, Matt?
Well, I'm not gonna say every time.
You can lie.
But-
It's cool.
Oh, okay. Yeah, every time.
Yeah,
The
see-
majority of the
see
time. How
easy
about
was?
that?
Insurance
I
companies do it
made
all
that.
the
I
time.
made that my practice.
Yeah.
Lying, you mean? Yeah.
Matt, what's the difference between your process and your company and being a preferred vendor?
Oh, that's a good question.
I'm trying to think. I'm trying to do the distinction.
Yeah. So the preferred vendor is a corporate level relationship where our company has essentially signed a contract, made an agreement, vetted each other, and decided that we are going to engage on these claims in a agreed upon way, which usually means that they're going to pay them out really skimpy, and we're just going to take it so that we get the volume instead of the profit.
Right.
I think it's a bad way of doing business, if you couldn't tell from that description. What's different is ours is a one-to-one relationship, so that agent is referring us their clients, and we are free to go to bat for them, as we see fit. And obviously that carries a responsibility with it. And those relationships aren't going to last if we're not doing that well. But we can support if we can support what we're doing. We can take things to a PA, to a lawyer, if that's relevant.
That makes sense.
Do you think an attorney could do this?
Could do what? Have this
work
relationship with an
agents.
agent to refer.
You're not allowed to solicit.
Right.
But if you are just asking them if they like their agent, and if they do, going and talking to the agent and working out a deal with them, well, it's not really a deal. You're just basically putting yourself in front of them. I don't want to give away your system, so I'm trying not to give too much information. You know how to describe this better, Matt.
I give away some of this because so I think it's tough I think a PA could swing this completely. I think it would be a little bit tougher for a lawyer.
Agreed.
But really what we are doing is, and the kind of the roadmap for my entire process is we start by identifying what it is that motivates agents to refer one contractor over another. What things do they want from us? And then we have to look at how we can fulfill those things. How we can get in front of the agent, how we can convince the agent that we are uniquely capable of fulfilling those things. So those things that we are fulfilling is convenience, integrity, customer service, quality work, client retention, and new business. And so as a lawyer, you can probably talk to them. Those are the things that they want from a contractor. What they want from a lawyer may be different. There may be some similarities there as well.
You ever had an agent refer you?
I have.
Yeah.
I have. So that instance that I was talking about before, where the agent was good friends with my client, got him fully paid, got the attorney's fees paid for. A couple months down the road, I was referred a case from that actual agent itself. I didn't connect the dots myself, like, oh, maybe this should, I've never approached him and said, hey, let's keep this going. It was just, hey, I appreciate it. We have a mutual client now. We both want to help him out. That was kind of the conversation.
It's because it was a dude.
I think
It was a dude.
I think with insurance agents, it's going to be a more rare situation that they are comfortable with referring a lawyer. I certainly think it can happen. It's probably going to
I mean,
be
by the time they're
higher end
referring a
and
lawyer,
commercial that are brokers that are advocating for their clients that would maybe be the right fit. But it's not going to be. It's probably not going to be nine agents out of 10. It's going to be the 1 out of 10.
unless you're in a state with very little leverage, where the agent really doesn't have even any authority. In the state
Sure.
like Georgia versus the states that you're working in, where your agents have success in getting claims approved just by advocating, in the states where the agents aren't having success advocating, they might want to have public adjusters or attorneys ready to refer someone to a little bit quicker.
Right.
I think you'd probably have a better chance in Georgia doing this than just about anywhere else. Maybe not Florida.
Right. I agree.
You think that's probably reasonable
And
to assume.
And to be honest with you, it's in states where public adjusters aren't as prevalent, such as Florida, Colorado, states like that.
Public adjusters aren't prevalent in Florida?
I said as prevalent as Florida and Colorado.
Oh, as Florida.
As prevalent.
That's a
Where,
big difference.
and if, for instance, if you go knock on your neighbor's door and say, "Hey, what's a public adjuster in the state of Georgia?" A lot of times they're not going to know what a public. You go to Florida, they will. So I think it's needed more in the states where the leverage isn't there, right? To actually put their client on notice that, look, you have a way to obtain assistance on your claim. Here's a guy I know, that will help you, whether it be a contractor, a PA, or whoever it might be. What?
I've told so many people that I'm a public adjuster, and they immediately ask me how much it would cost to give them chiropractic care. Every time. Well, not every time, but a lot.
Wow.
In states like Florida, I
Wow.
say public adjuster, and they tell me about the public adjuster that they've used in the past. In Georgia, I got my back done just the other day, but it still hurts. You think you can help me out? Not that kind of adjuster, buddy. Sorry.
I don't have that license. I have another license.
Is that a licensed trade? I guess it would be.
A chiropractor?
Yeah,
I think-
obviously. That was a retarded question.
I think you should just one time just go ahead and crack somebody's back.
Yeah, I'll go to jail if I do it wrong.
Just go for it. Yeah.
Why not?
It's not paralyzed.
This guy says, catastrophe claims policyholders advocate says, that's a mouthful, dude.
Mm-hmm.
Many policyholders in Florida do not know what a public adjuster is. Well, obviously that's probably true, but most, I think, of all the states,
Let's make my
I would assume
comment
Florida
clear.
knows better than others.
Let's make my comment clear. I said it's more prevalent in Florida than it is in other states. That's all. And I don't think anybody can dispute that. That's all. I want to get that out there.
Well, we can.
Good luck. Good luck.
You're friends with PAs and attorneys. We want to dispute everything.
That's what we do. That's what.
Job.
Matt, I was thinking about this. Do agents have more difficulty referring contractors on commercial claims where there's bigger premiums involved and bigger numbers involved compared to homeowners claims?
No, I mean, I don't. I guess I don't understand. Why would they have difficulty with it?
Well, I'm thinking they're selling policies for an insurance company. If it's a commercial policy, those premiums are a lot bigger, right?
Sure.
So are they more apprehensive to lose that business with a commercial claim than they would be a homeowner? Does that make sense?
Are you asking if an agent is more likely to go to bat for their commercial clients?
Yeah, that's a good way to put it.
Okay.
Or
Yeah,
does
I
it
mean,
not matter?
I don't think it really matters. I think, the bigger claims, the stakes go up, right? And so, as a contractor, you need to be working at a higher level. You need to be more professional. You need to be more on point. For the agents, they need to service that client better, because a lot of homeowners, they don't know anything about their policies. They don't pay attention to it. They got it when they got their mortgage. They've never read it. They don't know anything about it. If your job is managing this commercial property, as the property manager or HOA president or whatever you are, you're reading through these things. You are analyzing if your business decisions and that sort of thing. So I think they have to take care of them better than a lot of homeowners who maybe just let the carriers run all over them and don't know any better.
That makes sense.
So I'm going to bring this all back to the basic level here. You're trying to get more business. As a contractor, you can go knock on doors. You get a customer, you can ask them for referrals. This is something that a lot of contractors do, a lot of systems teach how to do. The problem is that for every client that you are talking to, you have the potential of maybe 3 clients from that. As a public adjuster, I could go knocking on doors and solicit directly to a single client. Or I can go talk to contractors and have the ability to get referred to all of their claims, which is why I market to contractors. It makes more sense for me to market to a contractor. You're doing the same thing at the contractor level. Instead of marketing to the individual client, like most contractors do, you're marketing to somebody that has the potential of referring a ton of claims to you.
Right.
So you have a better way of going about gaining a lot of business. And for PAs, that's pretty easy. For attorneys, you guys market to contractors and public adjusters for that reason.
Yeah. Right.
For that reason. You can't even solicit to an individual. You might put an advertisement out, but you're not going to solicit to an individual just because you're not legally allowed to.
Right.
I'm allowed to, and I still don't do that just because it's just not, the return on investment is lower. I think the return on investment of what you're doing for a contractor is probably much higher by doing the restoration referral system than just knocking on doors.
Yeah, I mean that's
What is the
exactly it. Is you're picking up what is the investment? So I charge $4,800 per company, just a flat fee. Break it up into 4 payments.
I was going about time. How much time is involved?
How much time?
But, if you want to tell us how much money.
Well, it's money too. I mean, putting your face on a billboard or whatever.
Investment. So in terms of time, we pick up a lot of efficiency. So I don't look at it as time spent. It's time saved.
I think you're saving a ton of time. By marketing to one individual that has the ability to give you a lot of clients, a lot of claims.
Right.
That's a ton of time savings.
That's a big time savings. I think another thing I like to point out is it's not just about the additional business, the additional revenue, but the quality of that revenue. If I'm knocking doors and I see 5 houses here, I'm going to knock. One of them's going to have Allstate. One of them's going to have State Farm. One of them's going to have AmFam. One of them may have Amica. I don't know what they are until I've knocked that, inspected it, and sold that job. And so I'm playing Russian roulette in terms of how efficient I'm going to be. And you can bring in PAs and lawyers and do all these things to make the carriers pay. But if I can stack the deck and generate business just from the carriers that I prefer to work with, that to me is half of the value of this.
Agreed. Nate Ellis earlier at 4:15 had a comment, and I think it's really relates to what you just said, and that is he just works with Chubb.
Yep.
I mean, the benefit there is you have the potential of having a bunch of Chubb clients. He doesn't want a bunch of Chubb clients. Who doesn't get a Chubby thinking about Chubb clients?
I was talking to Nate
All
this morning.
All of us were thinking it.
I was talking to Nate this morning about I think 7 Chubb clients that he's that are like on the same street. So he's
On the
got
same street? Wow.
Damn, there's a lot of Chubb policies in Colorado.
It must be. Or he's knocking on the right doors.
he's not knocking doors. He's working with insurance agents. So
With a door knock somewhere, right? I mean, the first ones are going to be there.
So, Nate's been in business for years, but he started using my system a little over a year ago and went to one of these Chubb agents that he had met. And that Chubb agent actually brought him into their district meeting to introduce him to all the Chubb agents in the Denver area. And so, it's like the weight loss commercials, results not typical, right? But it's certainly something that's possible.
So we have it's 4:40, it's about an hour. So we have about 20 minutes. if a contractor is out there, they're listening to this. What are the steps? They need to obviously contact you first, right, to get the ball rolling.
Yes, I did. It's
Good
that
job.
kind of show.
No comment on that.
Sure.
Oh.
So yeah, the best way to get started, they can jump on my website, they can check stuff out there. I encourage people to check out Social Proof, ask for Chub Chasers. That is.
Thanks, OP.
Thanks, Opie. I appreciate that, bud. That's one of our buddies from South Georgia there. I love it.
Lost my train of thought with that.
Yeah, I know. Me too. I'm sorry. We were talking about how to get the ball rolling with your
Let's
process.
not talk about balls now.
Yeah.
Let's not do
Yeah,
that.
check out our website. You can contact me. You can schedule to talk with me directly through the website. You can check out our social media stuff. We have a lot of social proof there. I can tell people all day long that my stuff is worth buying, but ultimately my clients speak a lot more clearly than I can about its value.
Got it. Such as Mr. Ellis, right?
Yep. Shoot Nate Ellis a message. Ask him what he thinks of it.
There you go.
Strong beer.
Yeah.
Whew.
What does Nate have to say? All agent referred, all with leaks from the last snowstorm this weekend. So is that what you're talking about? He's this week he's had 7 referrals from 7 Chubb clients. Is that?
I think
that what
that's
you
what
were
he
saying?
said. Yeah, in our conversation this morning. Yeah.
Wow. All from that huge snowstorm that hit.
Yeah, from
Denver.
one Chubb agent. So.
Nice.
In one storm. I mean, that was a blizzard technically, right?
Yeah, it was like this weekend.
Yeah. Everybody
I think what he was saying was that they all had hail claims that got denied, and now they're leaking with the snowstorm. And so,
If that doesn't show
it's-
you what the damage of the hail really actually did to those roof systems, right? Because then
Yeah.
after that hailstorm, it got tested, and the integrity of that roof system is shot. Boom. There you go. I love it.
We got to get off that joke.
Yeah, that's.
My wife is going to kill me. Can't wait till I go home.
Matt, through your process of being a contractor beforehand in your early life and now doing what you do now, do you have any crazy any crazy stories that have happened with agents or anything that you've heard that just kind of pops out to you? Because I'm thinking, I'm wondering, because I've never really had like sit down conversations with a ton of insurance agents, so it's kind of like, what are these guys thinking?
Any of them start bitching about contractors to you?
yeah, lots of them.
Yeah.
Lots of them. Yeah. So I would say a couple of stories. Going into an agent's office after he's referred me a bunch of business, and there's a box of donuts from another contractor that he offers me donuts from, and I get to eat another contractor's donuts. That there's nothing sweeter, right?
I hope you took
I
a
would
picture of
say-
that moment.
One of my favorite stories is I went into an agent. I went through my process. I pitched this agent, so to speak, and she was like, "That's amazing. I don't have anything to refer to you right now. Can you go look at my house?" And she had a 10-year-old roof in Aurora, Colorado, which almost doesn't happen. And so in the middle of the workday, while she's in her office, I sent her a company link before I even got there, and I went through and I took like 150 photos of her house that did not have a speck of damage on it. Incredible. I mean, it was barely even aged for a 10-year-old roof. Never been hit with hail. Not a little dimple in the metals.
Out of curiosity, any idea? Well, if there's nothing in the metals too, then there just wasn't any hail there.
There was no hail that
Yeah.
came there.
I was going to ask you what the shingle manufacturer was, but that wouldn't really matter. There's no data there.
And so it is what it is. There was no damage there, but she was still impressed by the documentation that we did. 4 days later, she got hit with 2 hailstorms. I mean, they just like crisscrossed, and like she's in the middle of the Venn diagram of like 2.5, 3-inch hail. And she had gone out of town. And so we got the opportunity. I was like, "Hey, it looks like you got hit." And she was like, "Oh, really?" I'm at a insurance agents conference right now. I didn't even know. So we went out there. You still have that link from Company Cam, and took another 150 photos of everything. Just, I mean, windows, screens, speeding,
And then she's talking about you
roof.
to all her agent friends at the agent conference. Did you get a ton of phone calls after that?
I got her business. I didn't get a bunch of stuff because it was like a national convention. So I don't know that there was a bunch of people necessarily from her area. I think she was like the person from her carrier that got to go to the conference in that area. Does that make
Got it.
sense? Um,
Certainly.
but
This dude says he got a whole
I got a bunch
roof
of her
for
business.
5 hits.
Where we get? Matt was saying something at the end there. Were you
Sorry,
saying Matt?
I interrupted you.
Oh, it's fine. Just saying, I got business from that agent, which was
Yeah.
that was my goal.
Stole the donuts, got the business.
Did you get a photo
love
of the
it.
donuts by any chance? Like you eating them with pure satisfaction on your face?
No,
No? Maybe a
No.
finger as you're eating it?
yeah.
At
Send
the
it to-
camera?
that agent who I inspected her roof, and then she got hit 4 days later. She had been referring for years a very well known Denver contractor, and I ended up getting her roof and all of her roofs because of that. So that was kind of a feather in
That's
my
pretty
cap.
funny.
So
That's pretty
yeah.
funny. You should have left some donuts on her roof. They'll wash off. It's like chalk.
Sure.
What did Joshua do?
He says he got a roof approved for 5 hail hits on the whole roof.
Westminster? Is that
If there's 5 hits on an
Is it-
entire roof, it's probably not hail.
well? Is Westminster? Is that in Colorado? Is that
Yeah, that's outside of Denver.
okay? Okay. See, I'm a little oblivious to
Yeah, I
certain
mean-
cities there.
And that situation kind of annoys me because that's just playing the hail lottery and throwing stuff against the wall. I mean, nothing against Josh or whatever. I don't know anything about the situation. Maybe the claim was already in or something, but it annoys me when people file a claim when they know that there's not really anything there.
Is there a group of fanboys called the Chubbies?
I thought we were getting off of the Chubb thing, huh?
I couldn't help it. It's the beer.
You had to use those words.
Krispy Kreme, baby. Were they Krispy Kremes? He spelled it wrong. It's a K, bud. It's a K, Nate. Krispy
Spelling
Kreme,
is
both
not
Ks.
Nate's strong suit.
Yeah, but he's good at dealing with agents. That's all that matters.
Yep. You can take those Chubb claims. So
Matt,
Sounds so dirty.
when agents that work for nationwide insurance carriers, the State Farms, Allstates, things like that, are they more likely to refer, their policyholders to contractors, or is it more of the smaller insurance companies?
I mean, I think most of them do. There's some of the big carriers that have preferred contractor networks, that will utilize those. They don't have to, but there's some that will utilize those, and so that can be a barrier. I like brokers more than anything else because most brokers that I've dealt with started as captive agents and left it because they thought it was a conflict of interest. They saw that it wasn't benefiting their clients, and so I prefer working with those people that have that mindset,
I
that
would
have
assume-
options for their clients.
I would assume a broker probably gets to see a little bit more range of what insurance companies will do with their clients. They're selling multiple different policies for different carriers. So they
Yeah.
get to see what one carrier will do and they get to see what another carrier will do. If you're a captive agent, you're only selling for one company. You only ever get to see what that one company is doing. You're getting fed the Kool-Aid constantly from that company. We're the best. We really take care of our people. But in reality, you're just getting screwed.
Right.
Whatever it might be. So you're probably right about the brokers being the best ones. If they're not required to use the preferred vendor, but they probably are encouraged to. I once had a client, this was early on in my PA career. She was an agent. It was her house for, should I say the name of the company?
No.
These are facts. I'm not going to. All right. So, large company. She was an agent for this company, And she had a previous claim 3 years ago in which the company that she worked for paid for a new roof replacement. She used one of the preferred vendors. That preferred vendor removed the flashing from the home and never put any back. There was no flashing on this house. There was a lot of caulk. A lot of caulk. More caulk than you could imagine. And it leaked like crazy, obviously, because there's no flashing. And this was a preferred vendor that did this. And she told me, when I said I was a public adjuster the first time I met her, she was very angry with me because I'm a public adjuster. And agents are usually taught that public adjusters are greedy or evil or something along those lines, right? And she was very angry with me for even being there. I eventually got her to sign her paperwork just by pointing out that everything that she had been doing so far with State Farm's deal really wasn't working out to her benefit. Because of all the stains in her ceilings everywhere, it's obviously not going to work out very well. You definitely need a little bit of help here to make sure that we can get this approved, because now you're in an ordinance of law situation. There's no flashing on your home. How do we bring it back to a pre-loss?
Did she end up deciding that you're actually looking for the best interest?
Well, she signed my paperwork.
Okay.
We got her roof approved, and the contractor was able to do the job. I never talked to her again because I'm a fairly large company. But somebody at my company did, I'm sure. I don't know the rest of the story. That's the honest truth. I don't know the rest of the story.
Yeah.
So Olivia might have talked to her for all I know.
Probably.
I've definitely seen some preferred contractor installed roofs that were
Horrendous. Yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Garbage.
Yeah, if you are going to agree to a lower price, it doesn't necessarily mean that you are going to have less profit. It just means that you're going to have to cut some corners to get there. If you want to keep your profit, it's going to have to come from somewhere, and usually that comes from. I've seen layovers done by a preferred contractor in areas that do not allow layovers.
I've never seen that from a preferred contractor. Have you ever seen that? You ever
I've
have a
not.
claim like that?
I have
That's
not.
crazy.
So I had one client that pretty large house, and he had a second building as well. That had the second building had a triple lam on it. The main house had just like the cheapest
When you say
architectural shingle
triple
on it.
lam, do you mean 3 layers of laminate?
No, a presidential shingle.
Oh, okay. That's
So
3
it's-
layers in one shingle.
Yeah,
You
so
know,
it's designed that way.
For the PAs in my audience that don't know what you're saying,
And attorneys.
and attorneys who have no
there
idea.
you go. A triple
all
lam
half
is a
retarded.
presidential presidential shingle that it's 3 times the thickness there. So it has a lot of depth. It's a premium product. That preferred contractor didn't replace the secondary building. Did replace and charged for them to upgrade from that presidential shingle to a 30-year. And I know what you're thinking. That's not an upgrade. That's a downgrade. They charged the customer $1,200 and basically sold them that this 30-year was a better shingle than their presidential.
You got to be kidding me.
Nope.
Wow. I've seen absolute nightmares when it comes to like water remediation, preferred vendors, just nightmares that the policyholders has come across.
Well, yeah, I mean, they're the people that are involved in these preferred contractor networks. I think they sign up with it, usually with good intentions, but then realize that they're not making any money. And so they start thinking up schemes to make these jobs profitable. And
Oh,
so
it's
you
free
start
loss
seeing
right now.
stuff like that.
Where their preferred vendor was involved, and it was a trust system on this house. The contractor went out there and convinced the insured that a permit was not required as long as they went back with the same stuff. Now, 7 trusses were destroyed. So it's structural damage, and they convinced the insured that they don't have to file a permit as long as they go back with exactly what was there before. And then they built rafters onto the roof and sistered up rafters to some of the broken trusses that were still there. And now there's a rafter truss hybrid system When this guy goes to sell his house, he's going to be screwed. The inspector is going to see that and know that there's a problem. Go look at the records for the permitting and see that there isn't any permitting records. And the contractor's basically screwed the guy. Preferred vendor. Yep, cut corners. It's the only way they can make money. Do you vet contractors before they get involved in your system?
I talk to them and I explain the things that are going to be important for them to be successful in what I do, and let them know not to buy my system if they don't fit those criteria. So essentially, I'm interviewing them. Because a lot of the things, do they have integrity? Can I figure out in a conversation if they have integrity? Probably not. But if I tell them this isn't going to work if you don't have integrity, don't pay me $4,800 if you don't have integrity. Most of those people.
You
just
ever had
go,
anybody that at that point just go, "Oh shit, never mind," and then like walk away?
No, they go, okay, yeah, I'm going to think about that. Sure.
That's worse. I'll think
And
about
so,
having integrity.
no, not. I'm going to think about that. I'm going to think about whether or not I buy your thing or whatever. But everybody says that they have integrity. Everybody says that they do good quality work. All that sort of
Everybody
stuff.
says they're the best. We have the best roofs in our area. They always say that.
Sure.
Not
And
all
their
of them can
inspections
be
are free.
right.
It's true.
Some are liars.
Some
Some are liars.
Some of them know they're not the best.
Let's get Matt's website on the comment box so people can, reach out to Matt and get in this program. I mean, because
Will do.
myself, I have contractors that call me and like, hey, do you have any ideas of, how I can get in this sector, like fire losses or whatever it might be, and get more business? I want to get more in commercial. Matt, you're the guy that
dealing with roofers right now.
The majority of my clients are roofers. I've got, like I said, a public adjuster that I'm working with. And I've got a couple of flood and fire loss mitigation guys. So my background is in roofing, so that's been kind of that's my network already. But really the process that I teach works equally well for flood and fire mitigation as well.
good.
Yeah, I might send some water mitigation companies your way that ask me the similar questions. There's always something to learn, and like I said before, I think that this system makes a lot of sense for people that really need a lot of business. And instead of marketing to one individual, your ultimate client, it makes more sense to market to someone who has the ability to give you multiple clients.
Right.
The time and effort involved is going to be much less. So,
Agreed. 100%. I'm going to be sending some people your way. Really
I
am.
appreciate that.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Absolutely. I think this is it is a niche. I think it's a beautiful thing though to open the door to other referrals that people don't even really think of. So good kudos to you, man. Really.
Appreciate it. Thanks for having me on, guys.
Yeah.
what last statement of the day? What's one thing that you wish somebody had told you early on in your career?
I would say develop a consistent process and do it the same way every single time. That's something that I had to learn through those mistakes, and driving back across town to take that one photo I forgot, something like that. I think that's so critical to whatever process you're doing, however you're developing business. Develop a process, do it the exact same way every single time. And that way, if you need to make tweaks, you need to make changes, you know what you're changing. You know what the variables are, instead of just winging it every time.
Yeah.
Did
That's
you
good
hear him,
advice.
Matt? Did you hear him?
Yeah, I teach my kids how to wipe their ass that way.
Yeah.
That way they know when it's clean.
Okay.
If they do it differently every single time,
God.
how do you know? It's
What beer did you drink today?
it's strong shit. This is pretty
How
good.
many of them
It's,
did you drink before the show? Is what we're
Yeah, that's
wondering.
another good question too.
this
We
is
have a
my
couple
first,
questions.
but I did not eat lunch or breakfast. That's probably the real problem.
Matt, that's good advice. It really is. 'Cause like you said, sometimes you want people to tell you things where they don't have to want to live that situation and figure out that you have to have a process, stick with the process, critique it when needed. Because some people have to live it and go through a couple years to figure that out. So it's always good to hear it from a business owner and come up with their own strategy. That's for sure. That's a good question. too.
Yeah.
We should ask that every time.
I'll forget.
That's a good question. Okay,
You ask
I'll
next time.
remember. We'll get
There you
that. That's why we have Olivia, the has.
I'll
She
remember.
always remembers.
Let's be honest, I'll remember. Neither
Yeah,
one
you
of you
will.
will.
Yeah.
Matt, thanks for being on with us for the last hour.
Yeah, bud.
Thank you,
man.
guys.
Hey, have safe travels to Iowa.
Thank you. All right.
If
See
you
you
keep
guys.
this running, we can have a conversation after, even if you're driving. It's cool.
Okay.
Your wife will never know. My wife is watching right now. She hates that comment. She's stewing right this second. I know it. I know it. Oh, damn it! There she is.
There, yep. Look, there it is.
I knew it.
I think you guys are gonna have some words this
I
evening.
think we probably will.
I just really hope you come to work tomorrow with a black eye. It'd be great.
That's messed up, Olivia.
A frying pan
want me to
bruise
have-
right here.
Domestic violence.
As long as she's the
Put on my
one,
face. Yeah.
you know, inducing the pain.
Occur to my. What is the words I'm trying to say? It doesn't matter.
Man, that honestly, I
It's
said
smart.
kudos. I don't usually even use that word, but
It's
it's
smart.
good for Matt on developing a new system to get referrals. I mean, that's beautiful.
Contractors don't usually have the ability to market to one person and have that make a lot of claims.
Yeah.
It's rare, and they all talk about how to do referrals, asking for individual referrals from every individual client. This is something that is very different for a contractor. You know, they usually only get to deal with the end user. I think it's smart. I think it's really smart.
Absolutely,
It's what I would be doing if I was a roofer.
it's worth the $4,800. That's for sure.
Yeah. So
That's for sure.
shit.
Definitely a one-way conversation. I'm not going to stick my nose in that, but good luck, Matt.
It's
good
interesting that she's got a Snoopy icon because I'm going to be in the doghouse. Maybe she'll be dancing on top of it.
That is funny.
I don't know. So next week we have Matt Behrens on, and we're going to be discussing. Oh, this is good beer. Brain fart.
Advertising the beer. We're going to be discussing anything you viewers would like to discuss. Put a comment. Let's have a conversation.
There was something though. You know what? I'm going to have to post it later on, and I'll post it with a funny photo of him doing something weird for sure.
Let's do
Just
it.
to make it fun. But Matt Behrens from the C3 group. This will be the last show before we go to Win the Storm. We'll do our next one after that from Win the Storm because we'll be setting up booths and things. And that'll be the 30th. So next Tuesday at 4 p.m. Eastern Time. Don't miss it. We're going to have a good topic. There is one. I just don't remember what it is. But Matt Behrens is going to be involved, and that's really the important part anyway.
That's all that matters. Thank you, guys.
You guys have a good one. I'll see you next time.